Hey everybody, Fun Stampers Journey Coach number 49, Janice Whiting here, and today in this video I'm going to show you how I created 2 cards using our Confectionery Days Pan Pastels. I chose to give these cards a floral theme pretty much wherever you go, whatever craft store, out in the, the malls, whatever. The trend now is beautiful summer trendy flowers mixed with different kinds of prints, a lot of black and white mixed in with those colors, banners, beautiful bright colors, and kind of a watercolor kind of look. Super trendy and popular and oh so beautiful. I was walking down the aisles of, I don't remember if it was Michael's or Hobby Lobby, one of those, Joann's, and I was just snapping pictures of different things and I was so inspired. So I came home and I created. So let me show you what I made real quick. So this is out of the, well, I love them both, but I really love this one. Okay, do you see what I did there? Now the camera probably is not going to pick up that pan pastel background, but hopefully it will when I do close-ups. So anyway, there's the first card that I created, and then I did this kind of mini card. It's not the, it's a little bit shorter than A2 size. Let's see if I can go up closer here. Of course, this is a night videoing, so I've got shadows, but there you go. All right, so I'm going to take you through some of the steps and techniques that I use to create these cards. And all right, let's do it. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. So I'm going to start with this one first, okay? And I'm basically going to show you how I put this together and the supplies that I used. So to start off, let me zoom out just a little bit so we can get more in view. I took a regular card base, okay, and this one is the fold at the top type. For whatever reason, this is my favorite kind of card. I don't know why. It's just my favorite. And then I cut one of our black and white vellum sheets to go just right over it. Okay, and I adhered that together with some of our journey dots. Okay, and I really just put like one, I think I did 4. I did 1 on each corner and adhered that down. And then I took another sheet of our whipped cream, and this one I cut to be 1/4 of an inch smaller around all the edges so that you can get a glimpse of the black and white stripe. So this sheet is, I believe it's 4 by 5 1/4. And this is a sheet that we are going to take now and create this beautiful background with our pan pastels. So to start off, I created the background with some of our colors from our Confectionery Days set. Isn't this fun? I always use that word. Forgive me if fun comes out of my mouth more times than you care to hear. Anyway, so we have 4 sets of our pan pastels. And so I've already done a video using our Mother Nature and one with our Rich Sorbet. So this one is next, and this one is called our Confectionery Days. And let me go ahead and pull up that sheet. Now remember, each of our pan pastel sheets, I'll go ahead and take this out because the glare is not so good. Each of our sheets, or excuse me, our pan pastel sets come with one of these sheets that kind of tell you exactly the colors that are in it and some nice tips. So let's see if I can bring this up to the camera a little bit, and let's see here. So it has Cool Pool, Pool Play, Pretty Amethyst, Sweet Pear, Pineapple Smoothie, Banana Cream, and Bubblegum. And for this card I used Pretty Amethyst and Bubblegum to create my background. Now I know it's not very visible. You can kind of see I created some, so there's gosh, what did I say, Pretty Amethyst, and then Bubblegum, Pretty Amethyst, Bubblegum. So basically I did some stripes in the background, some very light, ooh, that's good, there we go, that's a good view, you can see it better there, and that is the background. So let's go ahead and show you how I did that. Now this video, you are gonna love the fact that you can create backgrounds so simply. I mean, really, really easily. So here I go. I used one of the bigger soft sponges, and I started off with the pretty amethyst. So let's see here. Let's go this way so I'm not reaching across the camera so much. Did a couple of soft swipes, and basically I just started with the purple. I did the purples in the corners, just like that, and just rub it in real well until you see that it's picked it up. And then I did some purple straight down the diagonal middle. You can see that now. And I just basically did stripes. I didn't do anything fancy. Okay. All right. Do keep in mind, I'm just going to point this out because it's popping up on my deal. I wonder if you can see that. Can you see this and this? Okay, so that is really annoying to me, so I'm going to make that the bottom part of my card that's going to be covered. So be aware that these Pan Pastels will pick up, like if your fingers are oily, or you've got any kind of other stuff around that might pick up that's on your cardstock, just be aware it will pick it up. So be careful with that. You know what I do sometimes, which I wasn't thinking here, I'll like use my pencil to hold it so that my oily fingers don't leave prints, but sometimes that's hard to do because it moves. So you know what, do the best you can, or hold it where you know it won't show. So now I'm going to go with some bubble gum, and I'm going to fill in those edges. And like I mentioned in our previous videos, they just blend so beautifully. And even with me putting the darker purple first, it really does not matter too much. It will blend very nicely. So let's see if I can hold that here in that corner. All right, and that's it. So, okay, so I told you it would be really easy, right? That's really all I did to create the background. So this, minus my fingerprint smudges, is the background for this card here. And because this has so much stuff on it, all the flowers, it doesn't pick up the bright colors as much, but I promise it's the same there. And so now that we have the background, now we can start creating the little flower pieces back here. Okay, so really simple background that will be the basis of a really pretty card. Okay, so at this point, I'm going to put the confectionery days away because I've created my background, and I actually used some of the colors from, I believe it's Rich Sorbet, so I'm going to bring those colors out to create these flowers here. So I'm going to use the, Rich Sorbet, and I brought out my little sheet here to show you, and we did this last time, but I'm going to use, I believe it is my pretty, what am I trying to say here? My deep lilac. Yes, deep lilac. Such a pretty color. Okay, so deep lilac is what I used for these flowers here. Now, I was just thinking while I was getting that color about those smudges. Remember that you can completely erase these Pan Pastels. So I'm going to zoom in. I'm going to show you here. Here's a little fingerprint that my oily fingers came in. Remember, you can erase these. So go ahead, take your eraser, and then erase the smudge, which I think you can see, and then voila, and now it's gone. So there you go. You can keep that in mind whenever you are creating, and maybe you forget that. See those smudges there? I'm not going to worry about these ones so much because these aren't going to be visible. But if you accidentally get a smudge and you're, it's right in the middle of your design, you can erase it. Voila, it's wonderful. Okay, so here we go. We're going to use the technique that I showed in one of my other videos, and that was using the our Journey True Color Fusion Clear Pigment ink. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to ink this little Journey Bloom up with our clear pigment ink pad. And just make sure you can see right there that it's picked up a good bit of it and it's all covered, which is what you want. And I'm going to stamp it up here towards the top about, I don't know, 3/4 of the way on. You can kind of see that image there. And then down here towards this bottom corner, I'm going to stamp it there and put that down. Okay, so I've got my 2 flower images there. And I'm actually also going to ink up this large Journey Bloom right here. Because you may or may not tell, you probably can't tell, but I put the image first with that pansy, with the pretty pansy, just because I didn't want any white to show through. So you can skip that step if you want, but I like it to be full and complete covered. So I'm going to go ahead and ink this guy up. And I'm actually only going to ink about 3/4 of him because not all of him is going to show. Okay, and then he's going to go, or she will go right here in the center. Again, I'm not too concerned about her so much because she is just for filler on the background, okay? And these flowers are from our Journey Bloom stamp set, and it is $17.95 in case you're curious. Now I'm going to come in and, like I said, I'm going to do that technique that I did last time where you pick up a little bit of your Pan Pastel and you come over, and I'm going to use a paper towel to hold my paper because apparently my fingers are really oily. And you brush over the part that you wanted to pick up. Isn't that fun and beautiful? Pretty pretty. And then I'll do the same thing with this side over here. Let that pick up that color. And then this one here is our pretty pansy, so I'm going to flip over to my darker color here and get a little bit of that pretty pansy and let that pick up the pretty pansy color. All right, and like I said, I'm not too worried if it didn't get, you know, complete coverage because this is just going to be my background and it will be mostly covered with the flower that I'm going to put on top of it. All right, so I've created the background here. And you know what? I think I want to add a little bit of sweet berry. Let's see if I've picked it up. Yeah, there we go. Make it a little bit more pink. There we go. Okay. All right, so I have my 3 flowers colored there. Now, again, this is the technique that we did in that previous video where we use our clear pigment ink, and you can stamp it, and these Pan Pastels pick it up beautifully. And now we are ready to add some of the greenery. So what I did here was I used our Lead Me stamp set, and I'll bring that in a minute. And I just stamped lots of random pieces of greenery, leaves and whatnot, to fill in that space around it. So I'm going to go ahead and get that stamp set out. All right, so like I said, it was called Lead Me, and I'm just going to show you real quick. And I am using a lot of these leaf images. Here, just a lot of fun greenery. This is a really great and versatile stamp set that is one of those musts in your stamp collection. And so this one comes with 13 stamps, and it is $21.95. All right. Okay, and so the colors that I chose to use were Sweet Pear, Green Olive, and just every now and then I threw in some of the brighter Limeade Splash. Okay, but these two are really kind of like my main go-tos for the leaves. So I'm going to go ahead and start with, let's start with this one. I think it's the one I started. That little image. And so I used Sweet Pear just as a layering. Like, it's really faint and it may not be able to pick it up too much, but there is something about multiple shades of a certain color that add depth to your card and just give it an extra nice element where it makes it not look so flat. Okay, so there's something that you can do and think about when you're creating your next pieces. And I'm not worried too much about this picking up anything, any of the color there, because again, it's going to be mostly covered. So okay, you can actually see those, so that's great. And maybe I'll do one right there in the middle. So just I'm creating some background space right now, okay? So I did that one. Now I'm going to pick up this pretty leaf, and instead of sweet pear, I'm going to switch over to green olive. And this one is one that will be seen a little bit more. I'll put one there. So as you can tell, it is darker and more vibrant green. There. And I'm going to do one in the middle. And of course, everyone knows the rule of 3. Everything in 3s looks just a little bit better. Okay, good. And then I'm going to switch it over to just a couple maybe of our limeade splash in this. Was it this little guy? This little guy. That one there. And we'll just do maybe a couple here and here. And it's just bringing in that bright color just a tad. Again, you're not going to see much of that. Maybe I'll do one here. It's just background. Remember, that flower is going to go right here in the center. It's going to cover up most of that. Let me put something in there and maybe there. Okay? All right, so there we've got our 2 beautiful flowers. We got our big one that's going to be mostly covered, and then we've got our gorgeous greenery that kind of just makes the card, right? And then while we're at our stamping, we're going to go ahead and put our sentiment. And our sentiment is part of our banner wishes, not die set, stamp set. Hello. There we go. I love these. We have such cute, trendy greetings. I love them, I love them, I love them. So Banner Wishes is $16.95, and it comes with 6 stamps, the 6 stamps that are shown there. And I thought that Walk Among the Wildflowers was perfect for this. So I'm going to go ahead and take that, and I'm going to go ahead and layer it here. Now I'm putting it on our clear acrylic blocks, and something that's wonderful about our blocks is that they have a grid. So you can always make sure that, number one, you can see through, obviously know where you're placing, but you can make sure it's straight. And so the way to use this is make sure to put your stamp on the non-gridded side, okay? Kind of line it up, great. And then when you're stamping, you know exactly where you're going. And part of the reason for that is you don't want to get ink on this white gridded part, because using our stamp cleaner can sometimes kind of remove that grid. So always put your stamped image on the clear, non-gridded side. And I'm going to use black licorice for this. Beautiful. And I'm going to put that right up here on that top left corner. And again, because it's see-through, and hopefully my head will not, yeah, there's a shadow. Y'all will just be graceful, right, if I don't get it perfectly straight here. There we go. Press down. Voila. There we go. Walk Among the Wildflowers. Isn't that cute? I just thought it was really perfect for this card. Okay, so there we go. We've basically have stamped everything. We used our Pan Pastels to create the background. We did our flowers, and now we're ready to basically make this big, large flower, these 3 little pieces, and then put them on, and voila, we're good. Now, to do that, you just take a spare piece of white paper, our whipped cream. And here's my spare pieces of white paper. And we are going to stamp our large bloom again. And we're going to use that technique where we stamp with our clear pigment ink and rub our pan pastel over it. So this time you do want to ink it up nice and good. Make sure it picks up a good bit of that pigment. Okay, I think we've got a good covering there. Yep, and we're going to stamp it on our spare piece of white. And you know what? Just to make sure that it picks it up really well, I'm going to put this little foam mat underneath. Our stamps have a good clean cushion, but sometimes I like to take that extra precaution and use a little bit of extra cushion when I'm stamping stuff I want to pick up perfectly. So there we go. I'm just going to put good firm pressure. And see if we can pick that up. Oh, there it is. You can see that. I think it did it well. And now I'm going to go ahead and use our pretty pansy that we had earlier, Pan Pastel, and I am going to just fill that in. And it's going to pick up that color just so well. Let's turn it over this way. All right, let's see if I'll add a little bit of that lighter just for fun. Okay, beautiful. Okay, so now I've got this one done. Now I'm going to do two of the smaller ones, the smaller ones this size that are going to be along the edges. What am I thinking? Not two, just one, because I'm going to layer those. Y'all just ignore me, at least that part anyway. And so same technique, ink it up real good. Press down and take your color and color it in. All right, and that's pretty much it. Okay, so now I'm going to fussy cut this. Now again, remember these are erasable, so if you really want that lovely white edge, which I did a little bit of erasing, not too much, but if you want that white edge, then you can go ahead and before you cut, just kind of go around it with your eraser. Just, as much as you want. I think it looks just fine with a little bit of the lighter color of the Pan Pastel around it. But some people want a whiter edge, so if you want to, just go ahead and erase around it and then fussy cut it. Okay, so I have fussy cut these flowers out, but you know what I was just thinking? If you are not a fussy cutter, you do not like cutting around your images, we have a die set to go with it. Isn't that awesome? So there you go. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and assemble my card. Now again, remember we're going for this beauty. But before I assemble, you're going to notice that I curved my petals. Okay, and I just wanted to show you how I did that real quick. I actually, if you have an embossing tool, then fantastic. I have a small one. I don't have a big enough one for what I was wanting to do. So I found this little, don't even ask me where I got this from, but it has a bigger, let's see if I can put that up here, rounded end to it, which works great for my purposes. And so basically what I do is I have it on a foam mat of sorts, and I go in a circle in the center, and basically this is, and I'm using firm pressure. I mean, I'm using our Fun Stampers Journey cardstock, which is an 80-pound weight, which allows for pressure like that without ripping. And then just kind of coming in each petal or so, and starting from the end and working your way towards the middle with an embossing tool or some rounded end. Just doing that motion, and maybe some circular motions towards the bigger petals. We'll start curving those petals forward and giving some shape to them. So I'm going to do that fairly quickly here, just for the sake of showing you exactly what I did to create my card. Okay, so you can see well, you may not be able to see. Here you go. How about that? It's rounded my edges, my petals. Okay, so I'm going to do that with each one. Now, if I'm remembering correctly, I actually put a little bit of our Pretty Pansy on this one to darken it up a little bit. And I'm going to go ahead and do that. You know what? I'm not going to go ahead and do that because I can't find my little spongy onesie. Oh, here it is. So Pretty Pansy over this just to darken it up a little bit. And I didn't even have to re-tap this because it just holds the color and really well. So I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing as far as making this curve. So I'm going to go in a circle with some firm pressure and then coming down the centers, little circular action, and then straight away. See if I can do that fairly quickly. Okay, and that one is a little bit more obvious that it's taken the shape really well. And then we're going to do it with this one. And same thing, circle, circle, circle in the center, and then just come with firm pressure on each petal, starting at the tip, working your way towards the center. Again, our cardstock is an 80-pound weight, and it can take it. I wouldn't do this with some, thin paper. Okay, and so now I am ready to adhere that puppy together. I've created my flower. And you know what? I'm remembering that we also had leaves to our piece, these 3. And I went ahead and die cut them. It's these little guys from our flower layers and more. And that die set has 8 dies. So the flower, which is what I used to cut this little piece out of, as well as some leaf dies, which is what I used to create these little guys. And I thought when I was putting it together, I felt like they were just too plain because they were just a plain green, and with all the things going on in my card, I thought it would be a good contrast, but I actually ended up wanting to add some pattern to them as well. And so let's see if you can see that pattern on the leaves, some little dots. So what I ended up doing was I used our graduated dots set, and it is a background stamp right there. So you can see that, and it is $12.95, and it's graduated, so it's like dark to light or light to dark on those dots, or small to large, I guess you might want to say. And it is this set here. And so what I did was I inked up with our green olive just a small section of it, and actually it was this part down here, some of the bigger dots with just a little bit. There we go. And I overturned those leaves so that it would pick up the little dots that I wanted. And let's say I'll put that one here and there, and this little guy here. And I just burnished it with a paper towel. I mean, you could use your finger if you want to get all inky, which I usually don't care, but heck, being clean is good. And then you lift it up and you've got the graduated dots pattern on your leaf. Fun? Fun. All right. Okay. So then you can put it together. Now what I did was I used our, our glue dots, our little journey dots, to assemble these guys together. And to put the leaves so that they're up a little bit, I used some of our Journey foam squares that I trimmed to size. So let me go ahead and put that together for you. Now remember, this is our vellum on top of our whipped cream cardstock, and that I had adhered to it using our Journey dots. And so what I did was I put that flower right there. Now remember, I told you that we were going to cover that wouldn't even be visible. So that beautiful flower goes there on the edge. Then Journey dot here, and I'm not going to assemble right now, but just for the sake of showing what I did, here and here. The little leaves I popped up on the side, and I just kind of stuck them off to the side there and there. And this third one I put over here on the side. Okay. Now I used our foam squares to pop this whole panel on top of the black and white stripes. And then as a last touch, I used our Journey black and white color buttons. And I have put all my buttons in this big old tub, so let me grab some out. And these are little beauties. Aren't they fun? So these guys are our black and white buttons, and they come in a couple of different designs. So let me move that leaf over here. I put one right in the center of each flower to tie it in with the black and the white background, and then one in the center. And you get, let's see, I believe it's like 24 buttons. I could be wrong. Something like that. And this one right in the center. And then you're done. And then your card is finished. Isn't that fun? Oh, dang it, fun. Isn't that cool? Okay, so once again, here's the original that I made with everything adhered together. There's the panel. And again, I used our Fun Stampers Journey Pan Pastels to create these beautiful cards. And again, some of our paper, cardstock, inks, and everything else. Okay, so there you go. Hopefully you learned something new, and if not, you at least know how I was able to put together this beautiful card using a lot of our Fun Stampers Journey products and highlighting our Pan Pastels. Again, we used our Confectionery Days set to create that background, and then our Rich Sorbets to add color to our Journey Bloom flowers. If you have any questions about any of the products that I used in this video, please shoot me an email, put a comment below, and I will be happy to get back to you. Now, stay tuned, because coming up next in my next video, I'm going to show you how I created this clean and simple, pretty card that you will find super easy to make and yet still looks really striking. All right, again, any questions, feel free to contact me. And if you're wanting to purchase any of these products, you can go to www.funstampersjourney.com/Janice Whiting and go there. And you can access the online shopping cart at your leisure. Okay, we will talk to you soon. Bye.